Are you ready to turn heads? Luxury isn't just worn, it's experienced. Introducing a Layla Cara style and new up-and-coming designer collection where exclusive shoes and bags for men and women meets your feet. How about you take a handbag and wear it in style, where each piece is personally designed by a Layla Cara herself and handcrafted from the finest material in Italy. Leather, smooth like butter, bold, timeless, distinctly you. Step into true elegance and make your mark with a Layla Cara style where confidence meets craftsmanship. Visit a Layla Cara style and experience the luxury of art that you wear.
Chapter 9, Parenting and Narcissism. So, as I was talking about in Chapter 8 about parenting and narcissism towards the end, I have dealt with narcissistic parenting. My mother. Now, I try not to talk about her too much because if she hears this podcast, she's going to be very upset and she's going to be in her feelings because she don't understand that her personality rubs off on, well, I ain't going to say rub off. Her personality affects me. And it also affects my brother, and it also affects other people who have to deal with her constantly on a daily basis. Now, I had to learn how to deal with her, and the way I have chosen to go about it is that now I give myself breaks away from her. So I don't live with my mother. Of course, I don't. I'm married. But I moved out of my mother's house, as you can tell, in the early part of my adulthood when I was 18 years old. I was still in high school. I was a senior in high school. I planned that escape. And I called it escape because that's how I felt like I needed to escape this woman because she was trying to control everything that I did. She did not want me to have a boyfriend, and if I had a boyfriend, it was like she didn't like him. It was always something about every guy that I dated she just did not like. And of course my brother didn't like the guys, but I expected him not to because that's how brothers are with their sisters. But with my mother, she also have a way of, when she wants something, she want it her way and no other way. Like she want it the way she wants it, and she don't know how to ask. She tells you. Instead of asking for things, she tell you. Like, for instance, let me give you an example. So, for instance, my mom lived in San Antonio, Texas. I'm in Houston, Texas, right? And that's a 3-hour drive to get there, and then another 3 hours to get back. With all the construction they got going on right now, I remember, and this is not long ago, I have driven to get to San Antonio, and it took me 5 hours to get there because of construction, because they're rebuilding I-10. They're rebuilding that whole entire interstate, and it takes longer now. So my mother, she had this dog. She no longer had the dog anymore, but I gave her a piece of paper. I ain't gonna say a piece of paper. I gave her some information to take to her doctor and have her doctor declare her dog as an emotional support animal so she can bring the dog on the plane with her. And I said, you can fly. My mama can fly for free, you guys, off of my benefits. And she can go anywhere and don't have to pay anything. And instead of her getting on the plane and taking that information to her doctor, having her doctor to sign it and everything, she don't want that. She wants me to drive to San Antonio to pick her up, bring her and her dog to Houston to spend some time here with me, and then drive her back to San Antonio And then I have to drive myself back. You see how much back and forth that is? I mean, literally, I'm driving from Houston to go to San Antonio. That's 3 hours without the traffic and the construction. Then I'm driving back after picking her up. That's another 3 hours without the traffic and the construction. And then I'm taking her back. That's another 3 hours without the, you get the point. And then I'm driving back. That's 4 trips, you guys. That's too much. And on top of that, she has a car. She don't want to drive her car. Now you're getting the picture about this narcissistic behavior and personality and bad understanding and not giving a crap. You know what? I'm going to say the word, and not giving a damn about nobody else. And this has been going on for quite some time to where I had to put a stop to it, because the last time I did this, it was probably maybe, I would say, 3 years ago, right before I got engaged to my current husband now. It was about 3 years ago, and I told her, I'm not doing this no more. You're going to have to get yourself on the plane, or you're going to have to drive your own car. But I'm not doing this back and forth anymore. I gave you the paper. Why did you not take that to your doctor, have him sign? I get you don't want to leave your dog behind. I understand, especially when you're coming here for a while. Because she would come and stay for about a week to 2 weeks at a time. And then sometime even a month. So I get it. But you got to understand that I'm tired of driving back and forth. And it also put wear and tear on my vehicle. So whenever my vehicle end up having problems, she's not offering me money to help me fix it. She's not even asking me if I need anything to help fix it. She just go into this mode where she's not hearing you talk. She would change the subject on you very quickly. I mean, literally don't want to hear it. And I'm like, hey, my car, I need to get such and such done to it, this work done to it. She's not caring. And then when I do get it fixed, then she's like, oh, so you got your car fixed? Okay, well, all right. And then it's almost like, oh, well. And let me give you another example. So my mom had this thing about her that she feel like she's by herself. So you have a husband. He can help you whatever problem you have financially. So you don't need me to help you with anything. And I don't never ask my mom for absolutely anything. I don't ask her for no money. Matter of fact, I don't want her giving me money because I want her to have money. I want her to have it in her pocket. I gave my mom money. Sometimes I have, on many occasions, have given her money just because. I'm like, Mom, you got money? No. I'm going to send you some money. And I would send her money, Walmart to Walmart or whatever. But I had to kind of stop doing that because she got so accustomed to me doing that. And she was taking advantage of the situation sometime when I knew she had money and she would pretend she didn't just so she could get something out of me. And I felt like, enough is enough. I can't keep doing this. Now I have a child. At that time when I was doing all that, I didn't have no kids. I didn't have none at all. Now I have a child and I need to put my money in that direction on my kid, not on her anymore. And she have talked about me so many times to my aunt, one of her sisters, about how I used to do this, I used to do that, I don't do it no more, that how I changed. Yes, I have changed, and I'm supposed to change, and I'm supposed to change with circumstances, situations, and time. And I even tell my son that you need to make decisions based off of your circumstances, your situation, and what's going on at the time. I always tell him that because that's how you will always make the right decision and not allow someone to manipulate you, take advantage of you, or control you. And that's how I have been doing for this period of time. In the past 3 years, I have been doing that. And she's noticed the change that I don't call her black and eat money. No, I don't. I don't do that no more. And the reason why I don't, because she have people living in her house now. She got roommates. So my mom have a 3-bedroom house and she rent out 2 of the rooms that's in her house to people and they pay her. So now you got extra money. Don't play with me acting like you broke. I know you not, but those are how those are the things that I had to overcome throughout the time of dealing with a narcissistic mother that's trying to control. And I have many, many, many stories to tell about her and her narcissistic personality and her narcissistic ways. But I'm not going to go that far. I'm going to go ahead and let you listen to chapter 8. That way, not chapter 8, chapter 9, parenting and narcissistic. And just to give you some more insight on how to deal with a narcissistic parent. Okay. So, in this chapter, I want to make sure y'all understand what's going on. Because if you are a narcissistic parent, you need to understand that your children are affected by your behaviors. The way you behave. Your children are affected by this.
We'll be back after a quick break.
If you haven't already, check out my luxury shoe and bag collection, a Layla Cara style. Each piece is personally designed by me and handcrafted from genuine Italian leather. Whether you're dressing up or keeping it casual, these pieces were made to help you walk with confidence. Because real style starts from how you feel. Go to alaylacarolstyle.com and experience these bold, timeless, and completely all you. Check it out. You might find something you like.
Chapter 9, Parenting and Narcissism. Parenting and narcissism can intersect in complex ways, particularly when a parent exhibits narcissistic traits or has narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. Here's how narcissism can manifest in parenting and its potential effects on children. Lack of empathy. Narcissistic parents may struggle to empathize with their children's emotions and needs. They may prioritize their own desires and achievements over their children's well-being, leading to feelings of neglect or emotional abandonment in their children. My mother is not as extreme as a narcissistic person, but she does have a lack of empathy when it comes to my feelings. When my divorce was final, I cried like a baby in Marcus's arms. Marcus is my current husband, the man I should have given a chance to before I met Nikita. I was hurt by all the pain I had endured from that marriage. Although I was relieved the marriage was over, I was hurt, and the lack of empathy my mother had when I told her my divorce was final. She didn't respond at all, not even a "how are you feeling?" Not a "I'm sorry you had to go through another divorce." I looked at her in her face, and she had no expression. She just sat in the rocking chair on my front porch looking down at her cell phone and continued to do what she was doing. At that time, I needed my mother to be a woman and a mother to me and put her feeling about Nikita to the side and show me some love. But she didn't. When Marcus came over to visit me, he could tell right away that something was wrong with me. I wasn't smiling as usual when I saw his lovely face. "What's wrong?" he asked. "Come in my bedroom and we can talk. Let her do whatever she is going to do." When he closed the bedroom door behind him, I sat on the edge of my bed and said to him, "My divorce is final today." I told her, and she is acting like I am not human and have no feelings. "I am sorry your mother is not showing you any care." Then he put his arms around me, and I just cried. Excessive criticism or neglect. Narcissistic parents may be overly critical or dismissive of their children's accomplishments, constantly seeking to undermine their competence and independence. Conversely, they may also neglect their children's emotional or physical needs, viewing them as a burden or an extension of themselves rather than individuals with their own autonomy. Emotional manipulation. Narcissistic parents may use emotional manipulation tactics to control their children or maintain their own sense of superiority. They may guilt-trip their children, gaslight them into doubting their own perceptions, or use them as pawns in their own power struggles or conflicts with others. Unrealistic expectations. Narcissistic parents often have unrealistic expectations of their children, expecting them to fulfill their own unmet needs or live up to impossible standards of perfection. This can create intense pressure and anxiety for children, leading to issues like low self-esteem, self-doubt, or a fear of failure. Enmeshment or neglect. Narcissistic parents may oscillate between enmeshment, overly involved and intrusive, and neglectful behaviors, depending on their own emotional needs or external circumstances. This inconsistent parenting style can be confusing and destabilizing for children, who may struggle to develop a sense of identity or autonomy. Parentification. Narcissistic parents may reverse roles with their children, expecting them to fulfill the role of caregiver, confidant, or emotional support provider. This dynamic, known as parentification, can rob children of their own childhoods and force them to suppress their own needs in order to meet their parents' demands. Golden child versus scapegoat dynamics. In families with narcissistic parents, there may be a pattern of favoritism toward one child, the golden child, and scapegoating or devaluation of another child, the scapegoat. These roles are often used by the narcissistic parent to maintain control and reinforce their own sense of superiority. Long-term effects. Growing up with a narcissistic parent can have long-term effects on children's mental health and well-being. They may struggle with issues like low self-esteem, anxiety, depression, relationship difficulties, or a tendency to replicate dysfunctional patterns of behavior in their own adult relationships. It's important for children of narcissistic parents to seek support from trusted adults, therapists, or support groups to process their experiences and develop healthy coping mechanisms. Additionally, breaking the cycle of narcissism often requires introspection, therapy, and a commitment to fostering empathy, self-awareness, and healthy relationships. Case study. Here's an example of a family dealing with narcissism. In a quaint suburban neighborhood, there lived a family of 4, the Kens. Mr. Ken was a successful businessman, admired by his colleagues for his charisma and ambition. Mrs. Ken was a devoted wife and mother, always eager to please her husband and maintain the perfect facade of family harmony. At first glance, the Kens seemed like the epitome of a happy family. They lived in a beautiful house, their children attended prestigious schools, and they socialized with other affluent families in the neighborhood. However, behind closed doors, a different story unfolded. Mr. Ken was a textbook narcissist. He craved admiration and validation from those around him and would go to great lengths to maintain his facade of success and superiority. He belittled his wife and children, viewing them as mere extensions of himself rather than individuals with their own thoughts and feelings. Mrs. Ken, on the other hand, was an enabler. She had learned to tiptoe around her husband's unpredictable moods and temper tantrums, constantly striving to keep the peace and avoid his wrath. She sacrificed her own needs and desires to cater to his every whim, convinced that it was her duty as a wife and mother to maintain the illusion of a perfect family. Their 2 children, Heather and Alex, grew up in this toxic environment, navigating the treacherous waters of their father's narcissism and their mother's codependency. Heather, the eldest, learned to become the perfect overachiever, excelling in academics and extracurricular activities to earn her father's fleeting praise. She became the golden child, showered with attention and affection whenever it served her father's ego. Alex, on the other hand, struggled to live up to his father's unrealistic expectations. He was constantly compared to his sister and found himself falling short time and time again. No matter how hard he tried, he could never seem to earn his father's approval. He became the scapegoat, blamed for all of the family's shortcomings and failures. As the years passed, the cracks in the Ken's facade began to widen. Heather grew increasingly resentful of the pressure placed upon her to maintain her perfect image, while Alex withdrew into himself, feeling like he could never measure up. Mrs. Ken, trapped in her codependency, turned a blind eye to the dysfunction within her family, clinging desperately to the illusion of happiness and harmony. It wasn't until Heather and Alex were adults that they began to confront the toxic dynamics of their family. With the help of imaging coaching and support from friends and loved ones, they started to untangle the web of narcissism and codependency that had ensnared them for so long. They set boundaries with their parents, prioritized their own mental health and well-being, and forged their own paths independent of their family's expectations. In the end, the Ken story serves as a cautionary tale about the destructive power of narcissism in parenting. It's a reminder that behind the facade of perfection often lies a tangled web of dysfunction and pain, and that breaking free from its grip requires courage, self-awareness, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. Breaking the cycle of narcissistic parenting. Breaking the cycle of narcissistic parenting is a challenging but essential step towards fostering healthier relationships and promoting emotional well-being for both parents and children. Here are some strategies for both parents and children to break free from the cycle. For parents: self-reflection and awareness. Take time to reflect on your own behavior and upbringing. Acknowledge any patterns of narcissistic behavior or unhealthy dynamics that you may have inherited from your own parents. Therapy and counseling. Seek therapy or counseling to explore your experiences growing up with a narcissistic parent and how it has influenced your parenting style. A therapist can provide support, guidance, and strategies for breaking free from harmful patterns and fostering healthier relationships with your children. Educate yourself. Learn about narcissism, its effects on parenting and family dynamics, and healthy parenting strategies. Understanding the root causes of narcissistic behavior can help you develop insight into your own patterns and make positive changes. Set boundaries. Establish clear boundaries with your own parents if they exhibit narcissistic behavior. Limit contact if necessary to protect yourself and your family from toxic influences. Practice empathy and validation. Make a conscious effort to empathize with your children's thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Validate their emotions and offer support and encouragement in a nurturing and non-judgmental way. Seek support. Surround yourself with supportive friends, family members, or support groups who understand your experiences and can offer validation, empathy, and encouragement as you navigate the challenges of breaking free from narcissistic parenting. For children. Educate yourself. Learn about narcissism and its effects on family dynamics. Understanding the behavior of a narcissistic parent can help you recognize unhealthy patterns and develop strategies for coping and setting boundaries. Seek support. Reach out to trusted friends, family members, or support groups who can offer validation, empathy, and guidance as you navigate the challenges of growing up with a narcissistic parent. Set boundaries. Establish clear boundaries with your narcissistic parent to protect yourself from their toxic behavior. This may involve limiting contact, setting rules for communication, or seeking support from other family members or adults. Focus on self-care. Prioritize your own mental and emotional well-being by engaging in activities that bring you joy, relaxation, and fulfillment. Practice self-compassion and remind yourself that you are not responsible for your parents' behavior. Seek therapy. Consider seeking therapy or counseling to process your experiences growing up with a narcissistic parent and develop healthy coping mechanisms. A therapist can provide support, validation, and strategies for healing and moving forward in your life. Breaking the cycle of narcissistic parenting requires courage, self-awareness, and a commitment to personal growth and healing. By taking proactive steps to understand the impact of narcissism on family dynamics and developing healthy coping strategies, both parents and children can break free from harmful patterns and cultivate nurturing, supportive relationships based on empathy, respect, and mutual understanding. Nurturing empathy and emotional intelligence in children to help keep them from becoming a narcissist. Nurturing empathy and emotional intelligence in children are essential for helping them develop into compassionate, socially aware individuals who are less likely to exhibit narcissistic traits. Here's how fostering empathy and emotional intelligence can help prevent narcissism. Understanding others' perspectives. Empathy involves understanding and sharing the feelings and perspectives of others. By teaching children to consider how their words and actions impact others, and to empathize with others' experiences, you help them develop a sense of connection and compassion for those around them. Recognizing and managing emotions. Emotional intelligence involves recognizing and understanding one's own emotions as well as the emotions of others. By teaching children to identify and express their feelings in healthy ways, you help them develop emotional awareness and regulation skills, which can reduce the likelihood of resorting to narcissistic behaviors as a coping mechanism. Building healthy relationships. Empathetic and emotionally intelligent children are better equipped to form and maintain healthy relationships based on mutual respect, understanding, and empathy. They are more likely to prioritize the well-being of others and engage in prosocial behaviors, which can counteract the self-centeredness characteristic of narcissism. Developing perspective-taking skills. Perspective-taking is the ability to understand and consider the thoughts, feelings, and viewpoints of others. By encouraging children to take the perspective of others and see situations from multiple angles, you help them develop empathy and compassion, which are essential for building strong interpersonal relationships and navigating social situations effectively. Promoting cooperation and collaboration. Empathetic and emotionally intelligent children are more likely to value cooperation, collaboration, and teamwork over competition and individualism. By teaching children to work together, communicate effectively, and consider the needs of others, you foster a sense of community and interconnectedness that can prevent the development of narcissistic tendencies. Encouraging kindness and altruism. Empathy and emotional intelligence are closely linked to acts of kindness, altruism, and compassion. By modeling and reinforcing prosocial behaviors such as helping others, sharing, and showing kindness, you instill values that promote empathy and reduce the likelihood of narcissistic behavior. Teaching conflict resolution skills. Conflict is a natural part of human relationships, but empathetic and emotionally intelligent children are better equipped to resolve conflicts peacefully and constructively. By teaching children effective communication skills, problem-solving strategies, and negotiation techniques, you empower them to navigate conflicts in a way that promotes understanding and mutual respect. Overall, nurturing empathy and emotional intelligence in children lays the foundation for healthy social and emotional development, reducing the risk of developing narcissistic traits later in life. By fostering these qualities, parents, caregivers, and educators play a crucial role in shaping children's attitudes, behaviors, and relationships in ways that promote empathy, compassion, and connection with others. Chapter 10, Narcissism and Mental Health.
Okay, so that was chapter 9. So chapter 9, I talk about, I've been talking about my mother and everything. So what about my dad? You're probably wondering, what about her father? My father is very quiet. He don't say a lot. And he's more of a listener than a talker. And one of the things I admire about him the most is that he's not with the drama. He don't care about arguing. He tries to diffuse arguments. If you go into argue with him, he would tell you, I'm not going to argue with you. He will walk away and he will stay away from you. And I think I have kind of adapted that kind of personality now. At first, I was a very strong-headed, hot-headed girl who wants to go toe-to-toe because I was so used to my mother being that way. My mother is a very argumentative woman. She will argue you down. She will fight you. She will do all those things. So I had developed that trait from her because that's what I have grew up with. But you know, as you heard in some of my stories, my dad was locked up away in prison for a few moments of my childhood. I did get to live with him quite a few times where we was able to connect on certain levels. My dad did move in with me after he had got out of prison. He had got paroled to me, and that was how he ended up with me during that time. So I got a chance to be around him long enough to start understanding his personality. And he was my dad's a routine person. I can tell why he's routine. Number one, he's military. He was in the Marine, and everything based in the military is on a schedule. And then, of course, being in the penitentiary, that's also a routine. I used to work at a prison. I was a prison guard. I'll talk about that in some other podcast. But I was a prison guard. I did a year and a half working in a maximum security penitentiary, all males, of course. And there was times when I understood where his structure came from. He would get up at 4:00 in the morning. He drinks. He say his prayers and everything. And of course my dad's his religion base, his faith base is Muslim, so he's not into a whole lot of things, like he don't eat pork and stuff like that. It's a lot of things he don't do. And his whole self-control of not doing the things he used to do that got him locked up. And what got my dad locked up back in those days was that he got introduced to drugs back in the 80s. And you know how that goes from there. I don't have to go into details about that. But that's how he ended up in prison in the first place, dealing with being on drugs. Well, anyway, so with a narcissistic parent like my mother, two different personalities. I got my mother, my mother, her personality, and my dad, his personality, two different personalities. And I learned that, you know, I like peace. I don't want to fight. I don't have that many migraines anymore. Now I do still occasionally get migraines. And I think that has a lot to do with the coffee that I drink, the caffeine. So I have been cutting back on coffee. I kind of do a little decaf here and there, even though I still like my regular caffeinated coffee. But I noticed that I had to start figuring out what other things that could be causing migraines to happen. But I don't have the chronic migraines anymore. Ever since I have divorced Nikita, I haven't had chronic migraines. They haven't been consistent. I can go months without a migraine. And I'm telling you, it's the best feeling ever to not have that anymore. And oh my goodness, and I smile more. I have more of a glow. If you get on my social media pages, like my Facebook and everything, and you can go back into the times where I was married to Nikita, you will see my light was gone. And then when you look at me now and you see my light is back and brighter than ever. I have had people tell me that. They're like, wow, I can tell that you're truly happy now. I can see the glow in you. And that's awesome, you know. But now what do I do to eliminate the conflict between my mother and I? What I do now is that I don't get into an argument with her anymore. I used to go back and forth with her. I don't do it no more. I stopped doing it. I told myself that I cannot change her, but I can change myself. And I talked to my aunt, one of her sisters. My mom is the youngest of 8 kids. So I talked to one of her sisters, which of course is older than her because my mother being the youngest of all 8 of them. And I realized that my aunt was telling me a lot of things about their childhood growing up with my mother and how she were and all that. But they deal with her in their own way. And I say, okay, so y'all sisters, that's different. I'm her child. That's what makes it hard for me. And my aunt will give me some information about the things that they talked about concerning me. And she said, I'm going to tell you for real, your mother believed because you are her daughter, you are supposed to do the things that she wants you to do. And she have said that to me quite a bit on several occasions. And when I heard my aunt say that to me, I said, oh, is that right? So that means that I need to change how I am and how I allow her to constantly manipulate me in that way. So my mother used emotional manipulation to get at me. That was her tactic, to be all emotional and, nobody care about me. I'm all by myself. I'm going to check myself into a nursing home. I'm ready to die. I'm ready for God to take me home. Yeah, that kind of emotional manipulation. Yes, now you kind of understand what I'm going through here. So I figured out, if I changed how I react to her and how I deal with her, it's going to come a time where she's going to figure out that it's not working anymore and that she needs to stop. And if she don't stop, then this is what I do now. I take breaks from her. I will go months without talking to my mother just so she can cut that out. The longest I have went without talking to her was 3 months. And during that 3-month time, she was losing her mind. She was calling her best friend. Her best friend was calling me, telling me that your mother, she needs you. I say, if she really need me, I know, because I had people looking out for her. I had some cousins. She didn't know about it. She still don't know about it. That would go by and check on her and see how she's doing. And they would come back and report to me, your mother is fine. Ain't nothing wrong with her. She's doing great. I'm like, okay, thank you. I got my ways of still making sure she's fine, but not to a point where it's going to take a toll over me. So I have also installed cameras inside of her house, which she is aware of. Matter of fact, she asked me to, because I have cameras in my house. And she was like, I need you to put some cameras in my house so I can feel comfortable and safe. I said, okay, fine. So I put cameras in her house so I can see what's going on in the common parts of the house, such as the kitchen, the laundry room, the living room, also outside of the house. I can see the entire yard, front yard and backyard, so I can see what's going on. And I can see when someone pulls up in the yard and someone leaves the house, I can see all that, and I can hear everything people saying, and everyone in the house is aware of the cameras. So either way it go, I have figured out how to deal with her. And I would tell you guys, it's the best feeling ever, because now I'm not emotionally stressed out behind her, and I'm able to talk to her with some sense. And if she don't get it, or she's not trying to get it, then I say, you know what, I'll talk to you another time when you're ready to listen. Right now, I'm not going to yell and scream at you. We're not going to go back and forth. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do this at all. So how about we just get off the phone, or, we separate for a while, and that's that. I made the mistake one time telling my mother I was going to cut her off. I said it was a mistake because I didn't know how crazy she was going to act when I said it. And she went to all this dramatic, emotional state of acting like I said I was never going to talk to her again in my entire life. That's not what I meant. What I was saying, that I was cutting her off from the way I deal with her. I would no longer allow her to manipulate me anymore. I will no longer allow her to dictate anything that I do, especially in my marriage. And I will no longer allow her to be able to put her opinions off on me. Because I tell her all the time, what happened between you and my dad, that was way, way before I have became an adult. And matter of fact, I wasn't even born when you and him made the choice to become husband and wife. So I don't know what really happened during that time. And you cannot put off what happened between you and him off on me. Because she used to always say that to me. It didn't work out with me and your dad, so that's why it's not going to work out with you and your husband. I'm like, oh, no, you didn't. The devil is a lie. I rebuke that. Satan is a liar. I'm telling you, I'm not going to agree with that statement. And when I started realizing that she just wanted me all to herself. That's what the whole problem of the whole situation bars to. Now she has a clear understanding that it's not going to happen. And I'm not going to let her manipulate anything in my life ever again when it comes to my personal life, especially my marriage. And even with this marriage that I have right now, she don't interfere at all. She stays out of it. I don't share any information with her about my marriage. She don't need to know. Only thing she gets to see is what I post on Facebook. If it's not on Facebook, she don't get to know. Because she going to know exactly what everybody else get to know about my marriage. Whatever I post on Facebook, that's what you going to see. When we have our date nights and she see me take pictures and I say date night, then that's what you see. But you ain't going to see anything else. When we traveling, we going out of the country, out of the states or whatever, and I decide to post it on Facebook, that's what you see. But you don't get a chance to see anything else. Like, I keep that to myself. Because I encourage any of you guys, if you're married, or even if you have a relationship with somebody, keep your parents out of it. They don't need to be in it. That's between you and them. That's between you and your spouse. Your parents live their lives. They made their decision. They made their choices. They chose to live the way they live. You weren't able to interfere in their marriage. You weren't able to interfere in the decisions that they made. So why do they have permission to interfere in yours? Just because you're their child? Well, if you're grown, then they don't have no say-so. But if you're not grown, that means that you're 17 and younger, then they have a whole lot of say-so. They can say what they want to you because you're still a minor and you're still under their authority. But once you're 18 and older, baby, you make your own decisions. Now, if you're living in their house, you might want to start getting your own place. You might want to look for your own place and pay your own bills, deal with you the way you want to do. And in that way, they don't have no say-so. Because if you're in their house and they have every say-so about what's going on underneath their roof. Respect your parents. Always respect your parents. Don't be disrespectful, ever. And just understand that you are an individual. You do have needs. And you do deserve for your feelings to be validated. All right, signing out. We're going to do chapter 10. Stay tuned for that. And chapter 10 is the narcissist and mental health.
Are you feeling overwhelmed and exhausted by stress? Introducing Stress Management with Imaging Coaching, your ticket to a calmer, more balanced life. In this journey you will be taking with us here at Imaging Coaching, we'll equip you with powerful techniques and tools you can use to conquer stress, control, and transform your life. From deep breathing exercises to mindfulness practices, you'll discover the tools to relax your mind and body. Come join us on this transformative path and unlock a world of inner peace and resilience. Don't let stress hold you back any longer. Take charge of your well-being today with Imaging Coaching, your stress management team. Discover clarity. Defeat stress through Imaging Coaching at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com.